Gary Erickson is a longtime supporter and it's current sponsor, and also I've known you forever, like at least 20 years. And so he's the managing partner of Executive Search Partners. We like to get him on every month or so to talk about all you C's out there, all you CIOs, CISOs, and whatnot that are looking to change jobs and move up. But one of the things that Gary I suggested it because last time I had him on the show, he was talking about having some new partners. And why don't you talk a little bit about your new partners, because you really expanded your practice, right?
Well, we've added two new partners. We added Paul Peabody, who's both former CIOs. So our practice is mainly IT focused, although we do other positions if our clients ask us to, because we do know how to do finance and marketing and sales and HR. But we're primarily IT focused, and almost everybody who is a member of Executive Search Partners is a former CIO. So we added two new partners. We added Paul Peabody, who's well known in the Southeast Michigan area for a number of things, including being the youngest CIO in the Southeast Michigan area at age 29 when he became the CIO of Beaumont Hospital. And then he went on to become the CIO of a couple other large hospital chains. He's well known, well respected, avid golfer, probably has golfed every famous golf course in the world, I think. That's probably not true, but it seans like it every time I talk.
He's probably at his bucket list to do everyone, right? Though, especially if he's still a young man.
Yeah. Well, it depends what you call young. He's younger than I am.
Probably younger than Matt and I too, right? So,
yeah, probably.
Maybe not.
Everybody's younger than Matt and I, it seems like, so.
Everybody I work with, geez.
Sure, yeah.
And both Paul and Alex decided to join Executive Search Partners because they didn't want to go back excuse me just a second. That's
Oh, I like that view. Okay, yeah.
Okay, there we go.
All right, now we're good. All right.
Sorry, my phone is ringing and I'm not sure how to get rid of it. Oh. There we go. I think I can use my watch. Okay, there we go. I'm sorry. I really apologize for that.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Live shows, all sorts of stuff goes on during live shows.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Things pop up on my phone. And then Alex Balin is also a former CIO, and then he went on to a very, very significant career as the head of the automotive practice for two large consulting companies. Both of them are at the point where they said, I don't want to go back to a full-time position. I want to have something that gives me more flexibility in my career and maybe has less pressure. And I've been talking to both of them for a while about when you're ready to stop working full-time, maybe you would like to join Executive Search Partners because you've both got wonderful networks, wonderful reputations, and you understand IT, which is the focus of our practice. So we've added two new, I think, very significant and very impressive former CIOs to our practice in the last 2 months.
Okay, and so they are now they've hit the ground running, and they're ready to help companies with IT management searches in automotive and healthcare, right?
Right, exactly. Oh, that's a great summary. Would you like to do my introductions for me next time? That was a better summary than the one I had.
There's been some talk that he has some writing skills. So, I mean, there you go. So,
okay. Well, enough of that. But there's one of the other things you wanted to talk about today, I know, and this is something that just fascinates me, is that there's been a lot of talk lately about companies using AI to help them screen candidates. Is that something that's true even at the level of a CIO or a CISO, or what do you think of that strategy in general?
Well, I think it's a bad strategy. If you go to places like Glassdoor and Indeed and ZipRecruiter and LinkedIn and Dice and Monster, they all claim to have this artificial intelligence that helps them screen candidates. So if you want to search for a candidate based on certain keywords, you use their tools, all right, and you try and find candidates that match. Well, I find, and I'll give you another example, which is also applicant tracking systems. I find that when we're doing a search, if we use any of those tools, we've got to go through the resumes manually because they don't know how to parse information that we're looking for. They don't know how to separate the good candidates from the not as well qualified candidates. And then the applicant tracking systems also seem to, so companies use applicant tracking systems to keep track of who's applied and what did we do with them, and are we meeting all the recruiting standards that different states have. For example, minority recruiting, can we ask salaries? You know, there's a number of rules about what you can do when you recruit people. And applicant tracking systems allow them to do that. And one of the pieces of an applicant tracking system is to take in resumes from candidates and parse them theoretically, and then separate based on keywords or some other criteria, the quality, not good, I don't want to use good and bad, but qualified from unqualified for that particular position. Mm-hmm. That may work at a very low level. I'm not even sure it works well there because they do such a lousy job on parsing resumes in terms of finding people. So at the senior level, there's no artificial intelligence being used to screen candidates. Oh, it's always an individual.
All right. And so let's talk about some of the other things that are going on out there. You can bring us up to date on, like semi-automated CRM and all that jazz.
Well, there's two ways I think. I think one of the things that I think is happening. In fact, one of the things that is happening today is a lot of people are using things like Chat GPT and other. We ended up going to somebody else there.
No, I'm muting her now, so we're good.
Oh, okay, all right. We're going to. People are using Chat GPT and other artificial intelligence tools to be able to do a number of things. And if you've ever, have either one of you guys tried Chat GPT to rewrite something that maybe both of you wrote?
Oh yeah, actually, I did. It worked out pretty well. How about you, Matt?
No, I haven't tried it yet. So I suppose I'm afraid I'm being replaced, but we'll see.
I think my summary of the artificial intelligence world right now is a really good productivity enhancer, but it's not a replacement. All right, it's not. It just like the AI we talked about for screening candidates and finding candidates. There's still a whole bunch of learning and intelligence that needs to be added before they become as good as a human. But
it's a large language model, so until it kind of absorbs a lot of stuff, because right now when it churns out copy, you got to really fact check it because it makes stuff up, so.
Yeah, one of our professors tells me that's called hallucinations. One of them said he asked for, he's a design professor, and he asked for certain design sites from professional magazines, academic journals, and it came back with names he recognized, academic journals he recognized, but virtually none of the articles actually existed in the real world.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Well, that sounds like some of the political candidates we've had when they talk about their accomplishments and what's going on in the real world. But I don't want to.
I would love to get into that, but we stay away from politics because it's it's filled with landmines, So, yeah. But go ahead.
But what if you can use if you're both a company. You can use artificial intelligence to help you do a number of things, and if you're a candidate. And so one of the things I did in recent research for looking for tools to help us, I came across something for candidates. And there's a number of websites like this, but the one I like the best is called careerflow.ai. And they have a number of tools. For example, if you're doing a job search, all right? You want to keep track of who you've talked to and when you've talked to them and what happened as a result, what kind of information you sent them. And they have, this particular website has a semi-automated CRM to keep track of, job opportunities and notes. You can also use, and I don't know if you want to ask any questions in between, please feel free to interrupt me because I got a whole list of these things. You can use them to research companies. The artificial intelligence, here's a variety of companies I'd like to work for. Give me a list of the kind of companies that might match my search criteria. Once I've got some companies, give me more details about them. How are their sales? What products do they sell? Where are their locations? Do they have any job openings that match my particular background? That's the kind of research you may want to do. You can then use Chat GPT or others to take things like your LinkedIn profile or your professional summary and your resume or some of the accomplishments and say, I would like you to rewrite this section in the style of whoever, maybe a professional engineer, maybe somebody in the automotive industry, something like that. So it's really good at writing resumes. You probably know I don't like cover letters, but either a cover letter or what we call the in-resume cover letter, which is a summary of why you're qualified for a particular position. So you can give ChatGPT, here's the position description, okay, all right, and I want you to write give me a summary of me and why I'm qualified for that particular position. And you then can use that in your cover letter. So it's good at helping you sort of figure out what they need, what they may want to see about you based on their position description and the job title.
So, go ahead.
Go ahead, Mike. No,
I would
go
just
ahead.
say we got a few minutes left here. Are there any hot jobs in Michigan, without naming names, of course, of the companies that you can talk about or use it as an example of what's out there?
Well, I don't know. The answer is no. I don't have a specific example. I know of a couple of positions that recently have been open, one of which was filled, which is a CIO for a new automotive supplier that is a spinoff of another one. I know that another automotive supplier is looking for a chief information security officer. We're not doing either of those searches. But the summer months are usually fairly slow for new opportunities. They slow down at the end of May and they pick up, then people go off on vacation, people settle down from their hiring. If they hired a lot of people, getting them on board during the summer months. And then maybe around the middle of September to the end of November, we start seeing an uptick in job searches. And with the economy looking not as bad as people feared, I suspect we're going to see a decent job market starting in September.
Okay, Gary, we're in our last minute. If you want to give us your contact information, please. So if somebody wants to talk to you about C-level jobs in IT, where do they go?
They go to www.execsearchpartners.com. You'll see a list of all of our partners on there. Please feel free to contact any of the ones that, for example, Paul Peabody, if you'd like to contact them about positions in the healthcare industry, he's a good contact to do that. www.execsearchpartners.com.